Any human will have power beyond anything we've ever known. If need be, our food will be light and sound. We'll be able to levitate. We'll live for up to 5,000 years. And we'll be telepathic. When this kicks in, it will be quick. The time is near. It's time for you to join the stars. It's time for the bad to leave and the good in humanity to come out. It's time to rise.
Hello guys, Prometheus Gauntlet again, aka John Greer, out of San Antonio, Texas. Had a job, a job interview, sort of, for a temp agency yesterday. And went pretty smooth. I've been seeing more and more videos like from the Prepared Mind and other people online suggesting that there's going to be a dollar crash and that we're in trouble and they're gonna confiscate your retirement funds. They're gonna use that money to pay back debts and things like that. And I posted one comment, not on Prepared Mind, and some other one. It's all an illusion. It's just a play on numbers. It's all about getting people to believe something so that they can get in a worried or an angry or a disappointed state of being. They want to change your state of being and keep it negative, and the dollar crash is like the Great Depression to them. You know, it's something useful. In the end, people still have to eat. They still need clean water. They still need something to do with their lives. They're still going to need entertainment of some sort, electricity. They're still going to need somewhere to live, ways to get to work, ways to get around. And if you look at third world countries, like the Hobo Traveler does a lot of traveling, and you can see, you know, there's third world countries there, but they're still living their lives. They don't have what they want all the time. But for people who have detached from this world, who no longer value, like, I can lose all my possessions tomorrow, I still have my wits, I still have my mind. I can take a piece of metal and sharpen it and turn it into a knife. I can start a fire with char cloth, with flint and steel. You know what I'm saying? I have skills that allow me to survive regardless of what society does or doesn't do. My security is not in gold or money or currency. My security is in my knowledge of survival. My security is I went and I have survival videos on my playlist. I have a playlist of survival stuff, my personal survival stuff, and basically, you know, that's just me trying to start a fire and all this stuff. And the only thing I failed at was doing the bow drill fire. Man, that you got to be real strong for that. You'd be better off with char cloth. Char cloth will help you start the fire. Or magnifying glass. I have a magnifying glass. You know, I made a little sheath for it, and I have that in my my minimal kit. I have a minimal kit that I'm going to carry with me no matter what. And basically, you know, I'll always have a way to start a fire as long as there's a sun out or something to that effect. You know, there's so many rumors of the things that are going to happen on the planet, right? There's so many possible catastrophes in different places, and you listen to some of these natural people who have outright rebelled against society for good reasons. I mean, I don't believe they're not justified. I believe they're justified. But I'm just saying, it's like, they're flooding over here and people are dying over here. See, Mother Nature's getting you back. And it's like, you know, if nature wants to do that, that's her business. But you don't gotta laugh at somebody else's death or anything like that. I really don't believe in that. The only people that I want destroyed are the people responsible for making the higher level decisions. I don't care about the peons. Most of the peons, they're so well programmed and they're so conditioned, and it's part of their culture to go out and conquer by force and to intimidate and to deceive. It's part of their culture, guys. Most of these people are demonic. They don't even know they're demonic, and they can't realize that they're stuck in that mentality, and they're not going to come out of it. So I don't think it's something to celebrate. I'm just saying that I'm one whole soul. I got survival skills. I have common sense. If I have to, I'll just use my minimus pack. You know, I have things I can do to make my life easier, and I'm going to work on doing that. And that's it. You know, they come with troops. You can be afraid, but you attack those troops, you're going to get it. They come and take you to a FEMA camp. You resist them. You resist the government. They feel right to put you down, and you're just giving them what they want. They've always had too much power and too much control over humanity. That's why a lot of people, they won't come out. They're going to go run into their rabbit holes, and they're going to live there, and they're going to hide there. But anyway, not to get all fearful and paranoid, I'm just saying, you know, I have less than $20 in my bank account. I haven't worked for about 2 years. Haven't found any real work. I've been sick. I've been messed up on an emotional level, and I've crawled out of most of that because I just don't need it anymore. It's not who I am. I'm not distressed anymore. I'm not worry. I'm not wonder. I'm not doubt. I hang in there. I hang in there, and I cooperate, and I make things work. And that's all you could do in a situation like this, where you don't know what's going to happen exactly. Best thing to do is just not panic, and you know, if the dollar crashes, well, think about it. What are you really losing? People who have overly invested themselves in this world, and they've laid claim to land and all these things. All this stuff is a Vatican spell. All this stuff is title according to the Vatican, not title according to the human spirit. Those people collect souls, and they feed off souls, and they intimidate souls, and they control souls, and they brainwash souls. They do all kinds of abuse to souls, but they're not a soul. They don't care. They have to dominate. If they don't dominate, they don't feel like they're doing their purpose in existence. It doesn't matter what race they are, or what planet they're from, or what their culture is. So that is their culture, actually, is domination. My culture is not domination. My culture is cooperation and working together to figure it out and to fix it permanently. That's how I think. And these beings that are spiritual beings, or spirits, are detached to the point where they don't care what happens to humanity. So we're going to be given an opportunity to find out how much we really care about ourselves, and we're probably going to lose some people, but that's fine. You know, that's what happens. You know, you have a tsunami come in, somebody's going to fucking die. You have a tsunami coming in, you have a big earthquake, most likely somebody's going to die. Okay? Remember, these are the people that blood sacrificed the people at 9/11, you know? They dumped, 5,000 or so people? You know, they just, and the Jews were nowhere to be found, because there's two factions of Jews. There's the Jews that have the little hats. That's the ones that 13th Son talks about. Watch the little hats. He calls them European warlocks, Jesuit European warlocks, I think. And there's the other Jew, the Jew with the big hat like this, with the curls on the other side. That Jew is not the same kind of Jew. One Jew with the little hat is very worldly and really doesn't give a shit. He's all business, and he's in power and control, and he's about Zionism. And the other Jew is about Orthodox Jew. It's an Orthodox Jew that really doesn't want anything to do with that. And if you ever study that, you'll find out they disagree with almost everything. So, I'm not talking about, I don't really care about the Vatican spellcraft anymore, or those religious texts that they conveniently misinterpreted and stuff like that. I'm not really interested in that. What I'm interested in is loving myself, taking care of myself, focusing on my family, focusing on people that I'm responsible for, that I have to take care of. And that's it, including myself. I don't have time for, the economy this, the economy that. Well, if it goes down, it goes down. You go and you ask for food, or you look for food, you find a way to get food. If you don't already have food stored. See, the people that have food stored are going to have it a lot easier than people who don't have anything, regardless of whether you're in the city or not. People who have their bug out locations, they're good. So I don't have to worry about a lot of survivalists and preppers. So, yeah. So, unless you're running around making trouble, I think you'll get you'll get MREs, at least in the beginning. They'll probably give you MREs and meals ready to eat, which is a military term, military meal. They'll probably have things at churches you can go to get free food. I mean, people bind together. They don't just panic and start shooting everything. This is not a movie. People bind together and they work together. And it's just amazing. See, I was mad when I made a lot of my prior videos. I was mad because I was still learning what was going on. Okay, when you're still learning, you get offended, you get mad very easily because it's new to you. But after a while, you realize, hey, people aren't stupid. They'd rather cooperate and get what they need than fight and run the risk of getting shot or killed. That's the way people are. The thing is, I'm hoping that the higher level spirits that have been decimating humanity and controlling and manipulating humanity and gave us this system of bullshit to live by. And it is a Satan system, like 13 said. It is a demonic system. It's a system of greed and control and abuse. It has nothing to do with love. Has nothing to do with what's right. And it probably never will. But, all we could do is just hang in there, support each other, hold our peace, and, help each other survive. They're predicting it's going to get real, real, real bad. Well, it could only get real bad if people stop working. If you work, if you go out and you plant a field, or you go out and you reap a field, or you go out and you serve somebody a burger or whatever, you're working. You're making this work. It doesn't matter if you get paid for it. As long as you eat and your family eats and you worked, you did your thing. That we'll be bare bones for a while. And that's cool because, I lived in the park. When I lived in the park when I was a kid, with my whole family, we were living out of a car, a big old car. I think it was a Ford or a Chrysler. And my stepdad and myself, we would sleep on the hood, and my little sister and my mom would sleep inside. And we had a lot of cookouts. We had a lot of, because back then, of course, I was a meat eater back then. We had barbecue almost every day. That was the only advantage to living in the park, is we had barbecue every day. And we weren't paying rent, so we could use that to get food. Guys, you got to hang in there and survive. You got to show for yourself, not for me, but you got to show to yourself that you're better than a bunch of criminals. That you're better than a bunch of monsters. And I've been kind of a monster myself in a way. I just didn't hurt as many people as some people did. But I still want the right thing. A lot of people still want the right thing. They're willing to sacrifice for the right thing. We just got to get rid of these assholes that are going to keep taking advantage. Hopefully all this will be weeded out. Like they say, it'll come out in a wash. And let's try to be positive despite the dollar crash. Let's say the dollar crash happened yesterday. All that means is I stay home, I don't go out as much, I eat what I have on the shelf, I'm assuming electricity goes out. Okay, I have books. I have books. We stay indoors. If we hear anything weird, we peek outside. I make sure I have my gun ready. I make sure I have ammo in all my clips, because some of my clips don't have bullets in them yet. I make sure that I have my gun belt ready. And that's it. You know, there's no use crying over it. If the dollar crashes, you go out and you get your shit together. If you have a bug out location, you bug out to your location. My mom is never going to leave that trailer, so I'm going to stay there with her, and we'll manage inside the city. And at least I'm thankful I have a weapon, at least, because you know, some people don't have that. I have a bug out bag. Some people don't have a bug out bag. You know, I used to have more food stored, but like I said, I haven't worked for a couple of years, so I've had to just live off whatever mom's willing to give me. And it's been pretty bad, but that's okay. I'm still here. I'm still alive, right? I live one day at a time. Some neighbor asshole was making a bunch of racket with his fucking music. So I said, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna go see a dollar movie. And I came to the park, and I saw a video about the dollar crashing. And then they keep, you know, it's scare tactics. They want to soak your energy. They want you to have that negative frame of mind so they can soak your energy. Have a positive frame of mind. Just think, okay, if it happens right now or happened yesterday, what do I do today? And that's what you make sure you're prepared to do. And that's it, you know. Eventually they'll say, okay, people, just go back to work and do what you can, and we'll get things working again. It'll take time, maybe months. Who knows? We're going to have to get to know our neighbors. We're going to have to share food. People are going to have potlucks. Everybody brings a little something and everybody eats. Things like that are going to happen. You know, people are going to have to defend the peace. Police officers are probably going to be super occupied, so regular citizens may have to contribute, especially veterans. You know, all I have is a house gun. I have a gun for the house, so to defend the house. I don't have a gun that's light enough to go out and gallivanting around. That 45, it's a Taurus, and it's super heavy. It's good because it's a man stopper. The bad thing is it's little range. I wouldn't go out there without a rifle, without an AR or something like that if I were going to patrol. But I can't patrol because I have a bad ankle. I'm talking about people who are very physically fit, or who have training, formal training in how to do policing. These people in the government, not all of them are bad, but you can tell by listening to like people like Ron Paul and all that, you could tell that it's still too much fear agenda, and they're trying to warn you, but they put fear in you too. So accept the warning and the potential threat, which really does look like it's going to happen. Everybody's saying it's going to happen. They might speak it into existence. And, you know, accept that there may be a potential threat and just say, no, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. I have faith in myself. I have faith in my capability. I have faith that my neighbors will see the light and not be animals. Because that's, you know, that's what they do. They conceptualize people that are desperate as animals, running around hurting each other, and that's just stupid. Most people who are desperate, they'll ask, they'll work for it, you know, they'll exchange something, they'll barter, they'll negotiate, man. There's going to be a lot of abuse and corruption, maybe, but I believe in the integrity of people. I believe that only pieces of shit that would wind up in jail would do the things that they're saying. Regular, normal, average people are not going to do the things that they say are going to happen. They're not going to hit you over the head and take your shit. Not normally. Usually people that are in jail and drug dealers and all that, they're the ones used to killing people to get what they want. And even then, some of those people, they're just victims of circumstance. Some of those people, they went into drugs because it paid. They didn't go into drugs so that they can kill people. They just wanted to get paid. So you got to remember all your psychology here, the mentality of the people here. It's variable, but I believe that if we come together, we could do it. And you just got to be nice to your neighbor and just be smart about it. Don't tell them everything you have. Don't tell them everything you have. If somebody needs something, say, well, maybe I can scrounge something up. Let me see, and then maybe you give them a little something. I still think churches and all these spiritual centers are going to start having bread lines, food lines, and things like that. Restaurants will probably open and stay open long enough to expend their resources, long enough for them to go through all their inventory until they don't have any burgers and buns left. That's what I think is going to happen, because ultimately, if it crashes, China's not going to invade. They know they'll get their ass creamed. We still have weapons and shit like that. The economy's not going to affect the military. The military is like, we're here, we're on duty, we're on watch. This is our job. So they're not going to stop just because the dollar tanks. These guys have a really evolved sense of honor and purpose. So no, I don't believe that that's going to be all that bad. Like a tsunami or a hurricane or an earthquake, we're going to lose some people for sure, most likely. I hope not. It'd be nice if we didn't, but it's unlikely. But don't be afraid, guys. Hang in there. Love yourself. Love other people. Beware. There's some people are more demonic than others. Betrayal can come from anywhere, even in the family. And just take care of yourself. Invest in your knowledge. Invest in your capability. Can you take the sticks and the leaves and the things in the ground, the stuff on the trees, and start a fire? Because without a fire, you're pretty much without light, and you're pretty much without the ability to cook, stay warm. That's really your number one thing besides clothing and stuff like that. I have a bag in the back of my vehicle that has extra clothing in it, and it's just there. It's not part of my pack. It's just there in case of an emergency. It's very heavy, and it would be very hard for me to add that to my pack. Not that it's really impossible to add it to my pack. But, with my bad ankle, I have to get a dolly or something equivalent to carry my stuff around. I can't carry that stuff on my back for miles. I couldn't even walk for miles in reality. That's why I'm going to be stuck in the city, and I'm going to have to make the best of it. I always use what I have available. So, anyway, I just thought I'd talk about the dollar crash and everything before the internet goes out and the aliens come to eat us, and who knows what the hell else is going to happen. I really don't know. So yeah, I love you all very much. You take care. Don't be afraid. Don't be angry. Just take it under advisement. If it happens, you lose a bunch of stuff, fine. Guess what? It was all an illusion. It's all a Vatican spell. It's all bullshit. They had no business doing this torture the way they did. All this is going to come to an end. It has to, one way or another. And some people may have to fight for it. Maybe not. We'll see. Jay says that he already killed everything on the other side, and that once he goes over there, everything's going to be fine, and this and that, and the Space Brothers are coming, and all this shit. I never once in my life saw an alien or a UFO. I saw a gnome. I encountered a very powerful unholy spirit, and of course I had experiences under the Holy Spirit. But I'd never seen an alien. I'd never seen a Sasquatch. I've never seen Chupacabra. I don't know if that's real. If it's real, fine. If it's not real, fine. I believe that Jay's being as honest as he can. I don't know if he's absolutely right, but we'll see. Hold your peace and maybe focus more on relaxing, going into yourself, and getting in your energy and hanging around the trees that cleanse you just by being around you. They cleanse your spirit. You know, you let this get under your skin, and you'll go crazy. You'll go mad. You need to focus. If you need to prep more, prep more. If you need to hide some shit, hide some shit. You know, I believe in those. Not time capsules, but they're like time capsules, but for preppers. You know, you put stuff in there like a little hidey hole. If you have property, you can bury those all over your property, and nobody will know. Just those, you know, make them out of PVC or some metal boxes or whatever. Store ammo and whatever else you need. Now, some people have been doing this for years. Well, anyway, hang in there, guys. Don't give up. Don't be dismayed. Take care. Bye-bye.
All that matters is that it keeps going. And it keeps evolving. And it keeps learning to love. And it keeps loving to learn.